Okay, please go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. My name is Al Benarash, and I'm the Executive Director here at Jewish Child and Family Service. I want to welcome you all and thank you for joining our program today to mark this year's World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. Seniors are the largest age group that we service at JCFS. In our various older adult services programs, elder abuse supports are part of the work we do. Susan Fletcher, who you will meet later, will provide and probably touch on some statistics in more detail, but some figures I came across about Canada are that somewhere between 4 and 10% of Canadian seniors experience some type of abuse. And of course, those are only the numbers that get reported. Now, I wasn't able to find any statistics about the prevalence of elder abuse specifically within the Jewish community, but what we can infer is that there's no reason to think that it happens any less in our own community. And in fact, our staff at JCFS are regularly assisting many seniors experiencing various forms of elder abuse. Our history of involvement started in the public awareness arena in 2013, where JCFS was part of a 4-city pan-Canadian project focusing on building awareness about elder abuse in the Jewish Russian immigrant community. That project ended with the production of a live theatrical docudrama. Out of that, and with its success in 2015, it led us to seek out a grant and produce a screening of a short film called Not in My Family that we will screen again today. JCFS is very proud of our membership with Prevent Elder Abuse Manitoba. This is important work, and it is incumbent on all of us to care for the most vulnerable in our community. So I now want to introduce Margarita Iskajayev, who is a social worker in our older adult services program. But before that, it was already mentioned that this session is being recorded. We ask that you keep yourself muted during the presentation. And when the production is being screened, when the film is being screened, you may need to adjust the volume or the size of the screen from your end. We're doing the best we can at our end to stream it as best as possible. So I now will turn it over to you, Margarita.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's session. World Elder Abuse Awareness Day is marked each year on June 15th. It is an official United Nations International Day acknowledging the significance of elder abuse as an important public health and human rights issue. In today's webinar, Not in My Family, Rising Awareness on Elder Abuse, we hope to increase the visibility of elder abuse and stress the necessity and importance of awareness and prevention. All across the world today, there are programs like this, engaging people in discussions on how to promote the dignity and respect of older adults. Before I introduce today's guest speaker, I would like to outline our agenda for today's program. We will begin our program with a presentation by our speaker, Susan Fletcher, who will be introduced shortly. After Susan's presentation, we will be screening the Not in My Family video that was filmed in Winnipeg. It developed by the Rising Awareness on Elder Abuse program at Jewish Child and Family Service. Directly following the video, there will be a live Q&A session where audience members will have the opportunity to ask questions or offer comments. To that end, we have enabled our Ask a Question feature, and it is on the right-hand side of your screen in the auditorium. So if you have any questions, just pop them in there. Now I have the pleasure to introducing Susan Fletcher. Susan is a Seniors Resource Coordinator for Seven Oaks Seniors Resource Finder. She worked as a Senior Resource Coordinator for over 20 years and as an ESL teacher for 15 years. She combines these two passions to provide presentations to seniors on a variety of topics. She believes in lifelong learning, and currently she is taking a course to teach yoga chair dance. Please join me in welcoming Susan Fletcher.
Thank you so much, Margarita. I would like to also thank Jewish Child and Family Service for this opportunity. I believe it's such an important topic, and we need to be aware, maybe for ourselves or for someone that we love, because once we're aware, we can make a difference. So thank you so much for being here today and being a part of this very important webinar. I will be sharing a few topics with you today. As Elle referred to earlier, I will be giving you a few stats, not many, some effects and signs of elder abuse, some prevention tips, and of course, where to go for help. I want to start this session by explaining to you my first experience with elder abuse. I was actually a teenager working as a healthcare aide at Grace Hospital on Portage Avenue on the 3rd floor on the geriatric ward. I loved that job. And one day I was doing my rounds and I heard slapping sound and crying. And we had a patient who was Ukrainian who spoke no English, and it was coming from her room. I went to her room and the curtain was pulled around, and without thinking, I just went straight in and opened the curtain, and there was her son standing there with a pen and a check, a pension check, and her face was all red and she was shaking. This was an awful situation. I quickly turned around and went straight to my supervisor and told her what I saw. And in that one moment, I had my first look at abuse, and it was shocking because especially for the person that's being abused, there's no one to help them when it's the person you love, you know, it's a terrible situation. But the abuse that I saw was twofold, two types of abuse. It was financial, he wanted that check signed. And the other one was, of course, physical abuse, because I know that he had been hitting her. So I'm not sure if we can do this, but if possible, just to make this a little bit more interesting, and I was wondering if the people could be unmuted just for a second, and I could ask somebody if they could tell me what other type of abuse, elder abuse, that they have heard of. Can anybody tell me that? Or unmute yourself and tell us that.
We can have also emotional abuse.
Yes, thank you very much, Clarita. Yes, that would be another form of abuse, emotional abuse. There's actually 4 more, I think. There is spiritual abuse. There is neglect, and there is sexual abuse. So any type of abuse that you can think of is included in that list, and that's quite a bit. The most common.
How about social abuse? When they don't let their elders go out to interact with others?
Yeah, that would be under emotional abuse.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to talk about, I wanted to share with you all the types of abuse that we've mentioned: financial, emotional, sexual, spiritual, and neglect. The most common one is financial. And now I'm going to give you some stats that are going to be quite shocking, I think. Who does the abuse? 34% is the senior's own family. Excuse me, can whoever doesn't have their mute on, please mute yourselves because I can hear feedback right now. Thank you. 34% are people that are your own children or possibly grandchildren. 26% may be a spouse or a partner. 12% may be a sibling, and the rest could be anywhere from a landlord to a paid home care worker or a neighbor or a friend. We just don't know who it is. And I'm going to give you some statistics that are actually just from Manitoba and just from this last year of COVID, from last April 20 to March 31st. The Senior Abuse Support Line received, I believe, almost 400 calls in 1 year about elder abuse. A&O took counseling calls for elder abuse, I think 259. Right there, you've got over 600, and there are many nonprofit organizations which offer help. I believe Jewish Child and Family Service offer help as well for these situations. And so these are unreported. But what I've told you is just 600 cases of elder abuse in Manitoba in 1 year. And the saddest part about that is that 80% of abuse cases go unreported. And that means that there are literally thousands of elder people being abused in Manitoba in 1 year. And so I'm just wondering if anybody could tell me if they can think of a reason why this abuse would go unrecorded or unreported, sorry. Clarita. Oh, you're muted, Clarita.
Yeah. Well, actually, we say children or family members would like to have like some financial assistance from parents or elders. So the first thing or first reason is the need for financial assistance. Another thing is like when children, I'm referring to children or any member of the family who would like to have their parents or grandparents take care of their sibling, take care of their children, even if they are no longer like physically able.
Yes,
and also right. To do household chores, if just in case they go to work. Well, I guess those are some of the reasons why this abuse takes place.
That it couldn't take place. Thank you for sharing that. You can mute again, Clarita. Thank you. Yes, there's many reasons why abuse can take place, and some of it has to do with people being needed, and so you're put in that home because there's things that you can help with, and then unfortunately, people don't want to say if they're being abused because they have nowhere else to go. Clarita brought up.
We also have two answers in the chat. We have one from Janet saying fear.
Yes.
And one from Sarah saying stigma.
Thank you so much.
Heather says fear of getting family in trouble.
Absolutely. Those are all very true reasons. And I want to thank you guys for contributing to the answer. With stigma, it's so common because people love to, they love to brag about their kids. They love to say, oh, my daughter's a doctor and my son's a lawyer, and they come and visit me. Even through COVID, they're bringing me groceries and blah, blah, blah. And then if you happen to be a person who's being abused by your child, it's terrible. You don't have anything that you can say. It's a terrible stigma, embarrassment, fear, anxiety. There are so many reasons why you don't want to be abused. And that family relationship, sometimes people are actually warned that if they don't go along with what their child wants, they won't see their grandchildren. So there are so many, yes, cultural pressure too. Thank you. I have a little ribbon in the way, so I can't see all of my chats, but I'll try to move that ribbon down a bit. Yeah, there we go. Yes, that's true. Danielle has said they may not even recognize that they're being abused. And I want to say being here today is really good, because you will hear about signs of abuse. You may have a red flag and you think, oh, they're just kind of being mean, but you'll hear a little bit more about emotional abuse as well. So these are real reasons why people don't want to tell. They're embarrassed, they're ashamed, they don't want to lose relationships, they don't want to lose grandchildren, and they don't want to lose their home. And unfortunately, that stops a lot of people from actually reporting abuse. So the next thing I want to talk to you about are the effects, which I'm sure you can imagine. The effects of abuse are physical, they're mental, and they're financial. Physical abuse can be anywhere from high blood pressure to angina, stomach ulcers. Mental illness can be anywhere from anxiety to depression to just being so stressed you just want to stay in bed. It's terrible, the effects that snowball with abuse. And abuse is a very devastating occurrence. Financial abuse, it can also lead to the symptom cycle of mental and emotional, physical abuse, the health aspect. If you're financially abused, you might not have enough money to eat properly yourself. You might not have enough money to purchase medication. You might not be paying your bills, which will cause anxiety. All of these things are a symptom cycle that causes a vast increase in the chances of illness because of abuse. And it's really important to realize that. We are here, we're independent people, we're listening to this. We have got to realize that we also are in control of our lives and that we can make decisions, difficult decisions, to get out of the situation we're in. It won't happen overnight, but listen to the video coming up and what I'm going to share with you today, and make that decision to help yourself or to help a person that you know in the situation. I'm going to talk to you about the signs of abuse. I'm just going to read them out quickly. I don't want to take too much time so that you can enjoy the video. The signs, or how to know the signs of abuse: people become socially isolated. They may have physical injuries that haven't been explained. They might lack food or necessities and be fearful and anxious and depressed. And also, as I said earlier, be unable to pay their bills. These are ways that you know that signs of abuse. You might think you're helping your child or grandchild out with cash, but if you don't have enough to take care of your own needs, you're going to get that physical illness happening in your own life as well. How can you prevent elder abuse? There are a number of ways to do that, and a number of organizations that can help you. The first one is to contact friends often. Now, I realized during COVID how I miss, and I'm sure you miss, visiting with friends over dinner or lunch or coffee and going to each other's homes or to the mall. It's very difficult, but so important to keep connected. Keep talking to those friends you love. And there's also community activities that you can do. If you know the person that needs socialization doesn't use the computer and can't join a Zoom meeting like this, you can tell them about some of our programs. I have a few programs that are by phone, conference call programs. So it might be a conversation cafe or a book club by phone. And there's about 8 people, 10 people, 12 people, and they take turns and they visit and socialize. I have some programs, A&O has some programs. I know Jewish Child and Family Service was considering phone programs. So there are ways to meet your community. Get out, go for a walk, be involved, don't isolate yourself. It's a good idea to have your own phone. If you don't have your own phone, then your calls aren't monitored. It's also a good idea to have direct deposit for any pension or other checks, because then you know they're going right into your own account and you don't have a check lying around that somebody could take. Keep accurate records of any, bank statements and any property you own. And it's very important to have someone that you really trust. It could be a best friend or a clergy or doctor or a lawyer, someone that you trust to go over these things with you once in a while. Review your will periodically. And again, don't make any decisions if you're feeling emotional or whatever the reason. Talk to someone, talk to the person that you trust first. Please don't be afraid to ask for help. That's the first step in changing your circumstance. And always remember to have that trusted person, whether they are a person in the community or, as I said before, the lawyer, doctor, clergy. Get someone that you can discuss your life with. Now, the next topic is what to do if you suspect that someone's being abused. The most important thing is to walk beside them, not to judge them, believe them, listen to them. There's an old saying that a burden shared is a burden halved. And I truly believe that sometimes you just need to talk, and that actually sharing that burden helps relieve it a little bit. Do what you're doing right now. Get resources. Share those resources with the person that you're concerned about. Share the phone number, share the information. Never confront the perpetrator. That's asking for trouble on so many levels. It's going to hurt the relationship with the person who's being abused. It may hurt your relationship if it happens to be a brother or a sister that you're going to confront them. Be very careful about that and make sure you speak to a counselor before you do anything like that. Do not confront a perpetrator that you suspect is a perpetrator of abuse. This one is so important, guys. Don't judge the person who's being abused. Oh, you should have said this. Oh, you shouldn't have let him do that. Oh, you should have raised your kids different. They are already going through so much emotionally and physically, possibly. It's a terribly difficult time, and all they need is acceptance and support and kindness and no judgment, no judgment. They're feeling enough of that guilt and pain themselves, whether it's verified or justified or not. Just be there for them and walk beside them. Efforts to change this do not happen overnight. And I have worked with quite a number of people who it took maybe 6 months to a year before they were actually in a place where they felt safe again. And even then, some of them lost touch with that person. And it's an extremely sensitive, difficult situation. So please don't take care of it yourself. Please get help. Where to go for help? This is the last part of my speaking time with you today. Of course, if you're in immediate danger, you would go to 911, call the police right away. You're going to be physically safe. However, you can call the police's non-emergent number if you just feel you need to tell somebody that you think you're being abused. It doesn't have to be physical abuse. It can be any of the other ones that I listed earlier. And I will have these numbers available to share. I believe that someone will be giving out my phone number, and you can certainly contact me to get these other numbers as well. As I mentioned before, the Senior Abuse Support Line is open 24 hours, 7 days a week. I don't know, Shauna, if I'm supposed to answer the questions that are coming up in the chat or if we're waiting till the end. I believe that Margarita said we would wait for the end for.
Sure, we can wait. We can absolutely wait till the end.
Okay, thank you. 24 hours, 7 days a week, and they are there to help you as well. Of course, as I mentioned before, having that trusted person. Now, there is a special line if you feel someone or you suspect someone's being abused in a hospital situation, a personal care home or some other facility. It's called the Protection for Persons in Care. And this, they too can direct you to to give you help and guidance with this form of abuse. If you have any financial issues, there's a very common form of a financial abuse, which is scams. And people, if you're an elder who has experienced scam, please do not feel ashamed of yourself, because it happens much more often than you would think. And you are not alone in it. It happens so much because it works. So please get help and find a way to stop this situation. You can get help through the Manitoba Securities Commission. They can also even help you if you're wondering, oh, I've got a lot of money in the bank, I'm kind of worried about what's going to happen to it. How can I protect it so that I still have that money tomorrow? So the Manitoba Securities Commission is another way. And of course, as I mentioned before, this wonderful agency, Jewish Child and Family Service, Seven Oaks Seniors. I'm a resource coordinator for seniors, and there are 14 of us in the city. So in each area, if you're from a different area of the city, it doesn't matter. There's somebody there that can help you. And there's A&O and clinic, and there's even community financial services that can help you. There's so many organizations, I can't list them all. But we're all here to help and to provide information and to provide resources. You're not alone. And I thank you so much for your time. It's my pleasure to introduce the video, Not in My Family. I happen to know one of the actors, the senior that was being abused is someone that I've known for a long, long time. And they do a very good job. So please look at this. And as you watch that video, I hope that you will look and see how many types of abuse that you see there, because I think there's more than one in that video. And I thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Susan. Everyone, if you have questions and you would like to have them answered, we will absolutely do so after the video. So don't worry, we have not forgotten.
Elder abuse is violent or abusive harm to an older person. It is often a crime. Abuse of elders takes many different forms: physical, sexual, financial abuse, and neglect.
Marge, have you seen Mrs. Friesen lately? You know, I haven't seen her in weeks.
No, I haven't seen her out front walking or out in front of her yard either.
Strange, eh? I hope she's all right.
Well, I'm sure she will be. Her grandson, I think, is staying with her. Barry, I think his name is. So he would be taking care of her, I'm sure.
You know, that's kind of what worries me. I was there when he called and he asked her if he could stay there, or rather when he told her he was going to stay. She didn't seem that happy about it, but I don't think that she could say no. She said he was down on his luck and he needed a place to stay.
He is family, and it's hard to say no to family. Have you tried calling her?
Yeah, you know I have. I can't seem to get through. I don't know if she's not home or she isn't picking up. I think I'm going to go and check things out, pay her a little visit. What do you think?
I think that might be a good idea if you're worried about it.
Yeah. I'll be right back.
Okay, I'll wait.
The abuser often can be a child, relative, friend, professional caregiver, or a stranger. The caregiver may feel resentment towards the elderly person or overwhelmed by their role as caregiver. Stressors like problems with their own health, unemployment, or financial or marital problems can increase the likelihood of abuse. The caregiver often depends on the elderly person for money, accommodation, and/or emotional support.
Oh, hi. Hi, you must be Barry, Mrs. Friesen's grandson. I'm Linda, neighbor from down the street. We just thought we'd drop by and see how she's doing. We haven't seen her around in a little while, and we just wanted to check to see if she was okay.
Well, she's busy. Yeah, she can't come to the door right now.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? Why don't you just
okay, I will. I'll tell her that. I'll tell her. I'll tell her that. Okay.
Barry, who was that at the door?
It's nobody, Grandma. It's just some kid selling something.
That sure sounded like Linda, my neighbor from down the street.
No, Grandma, it's just some kid. Maybe your hearing is a little off. You should probably get that checked out. Could I borrow a couple bucks? Maybe?
A couple of bucks? Didn't I give you money yesterday? It can't be gone already.
Yesterday? No, Grandma, you gave me money about a week ago, and that was to buy groceries. I spent all that on food. You definitely didn't give me anything yesterday. I think you're getting a little confused.
I'm sure I did.
No, you didn't. Man, don't lose your marbles on me, Grandma. You're all I've got. All I need is like 40 bucks.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah. Down the hallway, there's my purse. There's some money in my wallet.
Okay.
You can go get it.
Okay, thanks. There's nothing in here, Grandma.
What? Nothing?
Nothing.
Oh, I always keep change in that purse.
Well, there's nothing in here now.
That's really surprising, Barry. I always have money in my purse. It's confusing. Anyway, if you need money, there's some in that coffee tin.
This?
Yeah.
Right here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Take some.
There's nothing in this.
What? But I always keep money in there because it's my slush fund for emergency cases and
There's
stuff.
nothing in it.
Well, then I have to go to the bank this afternoon because if we have no money, I gotta go.
Well, Grandma, why don't you let me go for you? Why should you have to worry about it? I'll just go down there with your ATM card. I'll get some money out, maybe $100 or so. I'll keep a few for myself, and then I'll bring the rest to you, and we can refill your wallet and your tin at the same time.
I don't want you to go to the bank for me. I've been doing this since I've lived here by myself. It's just down the street, and besides, I need to get out and get some exercise.
But it's cold out there, and something could happen to you. Look, it's no big deal. I'm going that way anyway. I'll get it. I'll come back.
Well,
let me do this for you.
Well,
Don't you trust me?
Of course I trust you.
Well, then I'll just go get your ATM card and go down to the bank. Do you remember your code?
Of course I remember it. It was the year you were born. 1995, 1995.
Oh, great. Then it should be easy for me to remember too, hey? Okay, thanks, Grandma. Bye-bye.
See you later.
Financial abuse is forcing an older person to sell personal property, stealing their money, personal checks or possessions, committing fraud, forgery, extortion, or misusing power of attorney.
So did you get a chance to talk to her?
Actually, no. I went to the door and he answered, introduced myself, and he said she was really busy. She couldn't come to the door, which was like really strange because I swear I could see her standing in the kitchen. And he was so rude. He was like pushing me while I was still talking to him. There's just something not quite right. You know, I'd like to go over there when he's not around.
Yeah.
Hi, Linda, Marge, what are you doing here?
We haven't seen you in a while, walking up and down the street like usual, so we just thought we'd come and see how you are. And
well, I'm okay. I'm doing all right.
Do you mind if we come in for a minute?
Yeah, come on in. Come on in.
maybe we could make you a nice cup of tea or something.
I'm a little bit chilly. I've got to put my sweater on here.
You know, you don't look quite yourself.
I'm just like, lately I've been really thinking I'm a bit confused and I'm forgetting things.
You sure didn't seem confused when we were playing Scrabble the other week. Let me make you a nice cup of tea and maybe a snack. You look like you've lost a little weight. Have you been eating all right lately?
I'm eating just fine. I don't want you to bother.
It is no bother. I'm happy to do this for you.
Okay, it's all right.
Psychological or emotional abuse is humiliating, insulting, frightening, threatening, or ignoring an older person, treating an older person like a child.
Oh dear, you're really low on supplies. There's just beer in the fridge. Have you not had a chance to go grocery shopping at all?
Barry does all the shopping for me now. He doesn't want me to be worried about things like that anymore. He even went to the bank today, and I gave him my bank card.
He took your bank card?
Yeah, I gave it to him. He was just being thoughtful. Barry, he does all my errands for me now.
I suppose that's all right, but you really need to get out by yourself. You used to really enjoy that. Yeah. And frankly, it doesn't look like he's done any grocery shopping for quite some time.
We can take you out and pick up a few things this afternoon. We're not doing anything later.
No. I couldn't do that.
No, really, it's not a problem. We can do that later.
No, I can't do that. Barry will be home soon, and he doesn't like when I go out.
What? Why?
I'm not sure, but he says he worries about me, and he's afraid that I might fall down or catch a cold or whatever.
Mrs. Friesen, that seems really extreme. You love sitting out on your porch and getting out at night and walking around. He shouldn't be telling you what to do. He's a guest in your home. You don't have to listen to him.
I know, but he's having such a hard time lately, and he gets so upset and angry when I...
Mrs. Friesen, he's not hurting you, is he?
No, Barry's my grandson. He wouldn't hurt me. It's just he wants to have some control over his life because things haven't been going well for him lately, and he lost his job. And
I hate to say this, but I think he might be bullying you. I even think he might be trying to take advantage of you.
No, Barry, he wouldn't do that. But, Barry's going to be home soon, and maybe it's best that you leave now before he gets here.
Well, okay. Well, we'll leave if you'd like us to, but you know what? I'm going to write our phone number down and put it right near the phone. You can call that number anytime. Do you hear?
Oh, okay. All right.
Anytime.
Thanks.
Neglect is abandoning an older person or withholding food and health services, deliberately failing to give a dependent older person what they need. This is a crime.
Did I just see someone leave, Gran?
Yeah, those are my neighbors from down the street. They're wonderful people. They just came over to see how I was doing.
I told you I don't want people coming over here anymore, sticking their nose into our business.
All right. Don't get so upset now. It's okay. They didn't mean any harm.
Oh, sure. Okay. Yeah, fine.
Did you get to go to the bank? And did you put the bank card back in my wallet?
What are you talking about, Gran?
The bank card and the money that you took from the bank.
I didn't take your bank card. I didn't go to the bank. See, you really are getting confused, eh? This is why people shouldn't come over here, okay? They'll take advantage of you.
Oh. Linda, it's me, Mrs. Friesen.
Okay, thank you, everyone. And I believe we have a few questions in the chat. And I will open this up to our speakers who can answer. This one is from Shelley. If you do see financial abuse, who should be the one who confronts the perpetrator? I know that we talked about this a little bit before, but maybe we could revisit some of the approaches.
Hello?
Hi, Susan.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure whether you still had me there or not. It would be, as I said before, you shouldn't confront the perpetrator, but definitely give them the numbers of people to call. And even if it is the non-emergent police number, it's important that they have the power to have the phone numbers there to make the call themselves.
Wonderful.
Can I just add to that? Can I ask you a question? It's Shelley.
If you're asking a question or if you're answering a question, could you please turn on your camera so that everybody can see? Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
Hello? I'm not sure. Is that working?
Yep, go right ahead.
Okay. I know you said that you shouldn't confront the perpetrator, which is why I'm asking, because I know that we've seen a few situations that a client we can tell is being financially abused. The client, and it's by their adult's child, they won't do anything about it. I guess that's why I'm asking, because you're saying that we shouldn't. I don't think they will. So I'm not really sure, I guess, what you would suggest, like who should be doing it.
I also can refer this one to Margarita if she wants to step in to answer. But what I would suggest is that you really have to, unfortunately, give them the choice to make that decision, because even if you do it, it is going to escalate. It's going to get worse. And they need to realize that nothing is going to change until they do something. Counseling for them, first of all, would be the best situation because the counselor is uninvolved and may be able to get them toward thinking towards the first step of actually making the call and getting the abuse to stop, getting the abuse confronted by someone else.
I want to add to Susan's answer. For sure, senior, if speaking about senior who is capable, it is the senior's decision to ask for help. And it is a senior decision to do something about it. In this case, for sure, it will be, I will advise to contact social worker and agent opportunity or our agency, like we are providing some service to seniors, because usually it's long-term support. And until person will be able to do something about it, it is a long-term therapy and counseling service until this person will be able to apply and to ask for help and to do something. But anyway, it's seniors' decision. And again, we're speaking about somebody who is capable to make the decision. If person is not capable, it is a different story. It's a public trustee, it's a different process. But for somebody who is adult and able to make a decision, for sure, it will be long-term service care, you know, and we have to provide a care and service to this person. And for sure, I will advise to contact the social worker.
We have a question. We have a two-part question from Belinda. Have the numbers of abuse risen over COVID? And in terms of the person who's being abused, how can we reassure them that they are actually doing the right step by calling or seeking help?
As far as the numbers of cases. I'm sure that it has increased. I haven't received anything over my desk. I don't know, Margarita, if you've received anything over your desk, but just the fact that what's happened with COVID is the same as on the video when the young man had lost his job and all these other things, that these pressures that he had, there's no black and white situation, and that can make people more susceptible to being abused or being the abuser. So I assume that it has risen during COVID, but I have no stats for that. Margarita, do you have stats for that?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I have to admit. I can say this, in our agency, we saw some increase in the cases too. We had some cases because situation is very different, and social isolation for sure, it was a huge impact on what's happened at home. And I can say for sure, we can see an increase in cases, and even it can be some kind of more emotional abuse, I can say, we can say. And because of COVID, it's more about emotional abuse.
I agree.
And we have a question, does Manitoba have a policy for reporting elder abuse, similar to how there is a policy that reporting child abuse is mandatory? If not, what can we as service providers do if the individual experiencing abuse does not want to report?
I'll leave that one to Margarita. It's very similar to the other one that is reported. If they are able and capable, it is up to them. It is their choice, and they can report it to any of the agencies that we've mentioned. But if they're not able to manage things themselves, I guess the family would have to get a doctor involved. Margarita, do you have anything that you could suggest?
From my experience, I can say with every intake and every contact with senior, every time I'm asking for the consent form, I inform them, because if it's any dangerous situation for them, for their health and for their life, I have to report by my profession. And it's very important and to make them knowledgeable, to be informed. And for sure, if it's danger for somebody, as a professional, as a social worker, I have to report about it. But again, it's different policy that we have about the children and about seniors, because they're adults and they have to be, they have to make decision by themselves. But again, if it's dangerous and it's every kind of risk for person, I have to report and I have to call the police as a social worker.
And the last question is very similar. If a person is afraid to disclose, can I do it for them?
Again, I would suggest that they speak to someone in the profession that can help them, a counselor or a social worker, to do it for them. Margarita, do you have any other suggestions?
As I said, it's better to contact professional social worker and to speak with a social worker to ask his advice, because if person is not ready to report, to make this report, it can be as a situation like a snowball, it can be more dangerous for the person. And we have to protect the person first. And we have to speak with the person if he will be ready to report. Sometimes it takes months and even sometimes it's years.
Yes, yes.
Unfortunately, but it's a reality.
Yeah.
Thank you. Are there any other questions before we wrap up? Sorry, and there's one more from Sarah saying, but what if I witness the abuse?
I would say if you have witnessed the abuse, again, if the person is an individual, that's a hard call. I mean, I would say you would ask them, do you want me to call the police? But if you feel like they're not going to do anything and you saw something, you have the right to contact non-emergent police number and say, I witnessed abuse of this person. However, you're starting a whole other thing And will you be there throughout? And will that relationship be lost? There's so many. It's really best for the person, if they are being abused and they are able to manage life themselves, that they be the ones to say so, although you could, of course, support them in that. Margarita, do you want to share anything else, or is that okay?
Again, if it's dangerous situation and you can see a person at risk, for life, and for sure, idle advice to call the police, for sure, because we want to prevent any harm for person. It doesn't matter what his age is. But again, if it's like our client, if it's not physical abuse, sometimes it's taking time for the person to make the decision to report. And as we witness, again, if you see the physical, usually it's the physical abuse, but it's visible and you can see the physical abuse, for sure to call to police. If it's physical abuse, yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
And we have one more question. How can we lobby the government to change the rules regarding reporting and protecting the elderly?
That is a difficult question because of the fact that they are adults and mostly able to manage on their own. I dealt with one lady who got someone involved with a daughter who was living with her, who was not letting her go anywhere or do anything. And the daughter herself had paranoia issues and other issues, mental health issues, that people were listening to her through the TV, and that people were looking through the windows. She had to keep the windows closed. She couldn't have the TV on. And it was my client's home. And she actually had her daughter committed, but because her daughter was able to say that I'm fine, the only way my client could have kept her in the hospital was to actually say she's a danger to my life or to her own life. And she couldn't say that. She said, I couldn't say that. And I wish I had have said that, because there was no help for her. I don't know how to lobby the government for changing those rules. I think it has to be the families and the abused people that start something that way.
I think it's a big question about the human rights. Yeah. Because on one side, we want to protect older adults, but the other side, they have a right to autonomy. It's their decision to report or to make any decision or complain. And we have to keep this autonomy and some kind of control of their life in their hands. And it is a big question.
Difficult question.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I'll turn it over to Al.
All right, thank you, everyone. Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel once said that a test of a people is how it behaves towards the elderly. It is easy to love children. Even tyrants and dictators make a point of being fond of children. But the affection and the care for the old and the aged, the incurable, the helpless, are the true gold mines of a culture. In recognition of International Elder Abuse Awareness Day, we hope that we've shed some light on this important topic and that we've helped raise some awareness about the issue. We are fortunate to have had Susan Fletcher participate in our program, and I extend our thanks to you, Susan, for your interesting and illuminating presentation and for your responses to the questions. To all of the staff at JCFS who had a part in putting together today's program, thank you. You all work so tirelessly on all these issues for which you're so passionate. Should anyone wish to receive any additional information on this subject or to discuss this further, JCFS is here, we're available, we're happy to help. Please feel free to contact us. On behalf of us at Jewish Child and Family Service, I'd like to thank you all for joining us today. Keep well, keep safe, and have a wonderful afternoon.